All right. Thank you for joining in on my first webinar. Something that I'm going to try to do on a weekly basis. So this will be Rev Running Shoots Be the Ram weekly webinar. So I'll just ask you to, join in, share it if you like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, ask questions when it comes to time to ask questions so that I may maybe possibly answer the question or just put the question out there for anyone else who may have had the same question. So we'll just start off with a small prayer. God, thank you for giving me this opportunity to be in a position to spread some knowledge and hopefully help someone else. I hope this webinar blesses someone's life. If it's just one person that is brought closer to you through this series, I've done enough. So I just thank you for what you're going to do in advance. I thank you for the people that will be changed. And however you bless this ministry is however you bless it. And I just thank you for it all. Amen. So today's topic is why are high school girls so mad? And what can we do about it? So what I did is I tagged a lot of educators. I tagged a lot of just people who are in influential places and positions that may be able to help with this. What's up, Coach Harris? So starting off on what Be the Ram is, so that you won't be just completely lost from the beginning. What Be the Ram is kind of a spin-off of when you think about Abraham and Isaac, and when Abraham took Isaac to the mountaintop, when at the bottom Isaac said, where's the sacrifice? And Abraham said to his son, God will provide. And they got up to the top. Abraham already knew that the sacrifice was going to be Isaac, his only begotten son. At that time, from his wife, of course, he had Ishmael, who came from a different situation, which would probably be on a whole nother webinar. But you had Isaac, and he was going up top, and when he got up there, his dad was ready to, sacrifice. Go ahead, let the knife down, and then he heard a noise, and there was a ram in the bush, and that ram is what saved Isaac's life. So what we're saying here as Be the Ram is you have an opportunity to be that ram in someone else's life. So you have an opportunity to be that thing that God provided for somebody else. So every week, we'll discuss this, and we'll have a challenge of what can you do to be the ram in somebody else's situation. Whether it be you're going to be a financial ram, or you're going to be a spiritual ram, or you're going to be just a relationship ram where you're that person that brings happiness to that person who was on the edge. So the whole thing of being the ram is just how can you be that person who was the opportunity when that other person thought all was lost. So the topic on today is why are high school girls so mad? And I take this because I've been teaching for about 12 years now. I'm in my 12th year. And, you teach boys and girls. I'm in PE. And the biggest thing that I have is, high school boys are very immature, especially in ninth grade. But you can expect that. They come in immature, they play, they goof off, they, throw things, they want to fight here and there. But they're generally, they give you a chance. Now, the girls, completely opposite situation. It's like they look at you off top as you have something, smeared on your face. They have a look of hate on their faces from day one. And it's not all of them, but there is a big population of young ladies who are just extremely upset. And you don't even get an opportunity to meet the kid. You don't get an opportunity to say, hey, I'm Coach whoever. Off top, I'm calling roll, and I asked the girl, hey, what's your name? And she just looked at me as if I had cussed her out or something. So, I thought maybe it was just me. But I've learned over the years and talking to other people, it's just, that's it across the board. had a girl walk out the class because I told her she couldn't use the restroom. But it was a thing where I knew it wasn't me because she had just met me. So it wasn't possible that I had done something to her that made her that upset. So what I'm trying to get down to is how can we figure out why these girls are so upset, because it is our calling as educators and as mentors that we meet the kid where they are in order to bring them where we're trying to get them. So what is it that's making these girls upset? What can we do about it? And what part do we play? I'll give, some situations that maybe we've done as a culture and a community. Maybe we haven't, but I'll give that. It's not that I have the right answer. This whole webinar is more of a share. It's kind of like a boiling pot where we all throw things in and we have gumbo at the end. So I don't have the correct answer. I can just come up with the things I've thought of, and one of them may be that there's no male presence in the house. So when they come to school and they're in a male's class, they really don't know how to respond. I had a basketball girl that I coached a long time ago, and she actually said, well, Coach, I don't know how to talk to men because my father's not around, so I don't exactly know how to communicate with you. I don't know how to take what you say. When you raise your voice, I think you're yelling at me. I think you don't like me. I think this, I think that. There's a situation where maybe the mother or whoever the lead female in the house, they've always down-talked men. Okay, Bird. Yeah, make presence and relationship with their father is the main factor. Yeah, many of them don't have that relationship, Bird. And, we get there and, where was I at? So, maybe the men are being down-talked in the house. So every male that they see has this stigma of a cheater, a liar, a dog, or just, maybe it's men that's taking advantage of them at a young age, and we really don't know what we're dealing with, and we're coming in behind the 8 ball. So then you take that high school girl and put them around a bunch of, immature, horny high school boys, and they're not out to make their lives better. They're just out to get what they can get and go on to the next one. So then that cycle of hurt just continues and continues and continues. So, that's just my thought of it. But, I really would like to hear what you have to say and what it is that we can do to change this whole mindset of these young ladies coming in just extremely upset, extremely mad, won't communicate, won't just do the simple things. It's not like you're asking them to, write a 10-page essay or run 10 miles in the track. You're just calling roll, and they're already upset. So does anybody have any maybe reasons that these girls are coming in this way and anything that we can do about it? That's actually in our power. Nobody? Okay. So, now reading the word, I've been brought to Titus 2 and 3 through 8. And, I'll just always try to find what the scripture says about it. And what I read there was, let me pull it up for you. A peer group, open discussion, and their feelings put past men in their lives. True. Okay, Ms. Ebake says that most of what we're saying is coming off of hormones, and I believe that to be true that a lot of these girls have hormone issues. I mean, kids in general, they're coming off with strong hormones going into high school. So what can we do about that? Hormones is something that's out of our control. Should we ignore, the actions? Should we just say, okay, because you're hormonal, then you're not held to the same standard as all my other students? What should we do about that, Laura? Okay, what the scripture says, and I guess, this will just set up the challenge for the week up to come, the Be the Ram Challenge. Titus 2, 3 through 8, coming from the ERV, says, Also teach older women. This is coming, about how teaching a family. Also teach older women to live the way those serve the Lord should live. They should not go around saying bad things about others or be in the habit of drinking too much. They should teach what is good. By doing this, they will teach the younger women to love their husbands and children. They will teach them to be wise and pure, to take care of their homes, and to be kind and willing to serve their husbands. Then no one will be able to criticize teaching us that God gave us. In the same way, tell the young men to be wise. You should be an example for them in every way by the good things you do. When you teach, be honest and serious. And your teaching should be clearly right so that you cannot be criticized. Then anyone who is against you will be ashamed. There will not be anything bad they can say about you. Okay, Laura, in today's age, parents are giving kids medicine for everything. Sometimes it's not their fault. So we have that it's hormonal. We have that, there's medicine. But, they're meeting the kids. So these parents are giving kids just everything. Medicines and things like that. So I guess what my challenge for this week would be that you find some way to help a young girl out. It would probably need to come from the women. Nicole says, I agree, the problem is always stems from their family and background, sometimes lacking from the standpoint cause them to act this way. Is there a program or start or that you can assist with? Well, I know that, at the school that I was at, there was a program called, I'm not sure of the exact name of it, Diamonds or something of that nature, where the girls would meet one day and they'd be able to talk and kind of woosah with the female teachers in the building. So there's different programs that's already in place, and there's programs that can be started. But I guess from a whole standpoint, the challenge for the week would be to find a young lady, say something positive to their life. You have to meet them where they are, as you stated, and reach out to them. So how do you reach out to somebody who doesn't want to be reached? But yeah, the challenge, find somebody, one of these little mad girls, and as a woman, talk to them, give them wisdom, let them know that, you've been there and things can change. Just find something to do. Coach Rucker My Sister's Keeper, that's what it was. I thought it was Diamond. It was My Sister's Keeper, and they met at, in the classroom, and they talked, they did things like that. So My Sister's Keeper was a pretty good program. I think a lot of the girls, got a release and they were freed. And I know you yourself, Laura, has written a book, that really has helped a lot of young women just through their situations and helping them cope with things that they thought they were the only ones that were going through that. So shouts out to you and that book you wrote. So I guess that would be an example of being the ram in the book you wrote, because that book could have been the one thing that saved their life. So, whatever you do this week, just find a way to mentor a young person as far as a young female. They do want to be reached, but lots of them put up a wall to protect themselves. You have to be open and share what you've been through. Yeah, that is true. I'm having a hard time reading because it's real small, but it's very true. A lot of them, they do want it, but the time, I would say, that you have with that child is so small, and you spend most of the time trying to break through that wall, and a lot of times you never break through it, or you just don't have either the patience or the time to do it. And I think it's important to try to get them at the high school level, because we want to erase that stigma of the mad black woman, which it is a stigma, and there's a lot of truth to it. There are a lot of salty, mad black women out there. Showing them that you can relate to them, that will tear them down. So, that's true. We want to break down that stigma. And I think if we can somehow reach these girls at that age, so they're not 20, 21, thinking that all men are dogs, all men are this, and then they end up, messing up relationships and marriages because they meet a good guy, they get a husband who loves them and cares about them, but they run them off because they're treating that man like every other man that's left them. So then you create a cycle of a single mom with a single, with a child who's a female or a son, and it could have really, maybe if we could have caught it back when they were freshmen, or just young high school girls that were just mad at the world, men in particular, maybe it would stop the mad black woman stigma. Maybe it would stop, a lot of marriages being broken because the man never got an opportunity to be a man. Maybe the woman thinks she's the man of the house because she's never seen a man of the house, or her mom did everything herself. There's a lot of things that stem from this whole situation. And we can say all day, reach them. But I guess what I'm trying to get to is, how do we reach them? What is the time frame of reaching them? Can it really be done in a 90-minute, 60-minute setting? Is there things, outreach groups that'll come in and talk to these girls? Is it just me that thinks that there's a lot of little mad girls at schools? Or is it really a nationwide epidemic? Now, trust me, I'm not on here to say that boys are perfect. I'm not on here to say that girls are the problem. This is just a topic that I'm speaking on today. Next week maybe it's a different topic. So please don't, later on get on here and debate, say, well, girls this, girls that. I'm not taking shots at girls. What I'm trying to do is say that I have seen the problem, trying to address the problem, seeing if we can come up with a solution to the problem, because it is a problem, and the problem goes way higher than that. Bird, in my field of law enforcement in the military, and seeing women in the military who are subjecting themselves to being used mentally and sexually due to their past experiences with their fathers and men in their lives. Can't see the rest, but yeah, I can imagine in your field you see a lot. Those after-school groups are where the impact can be. We have to mentor and put time in. I think that's a great idea, Laura. I guess the question I would have with that, the majority of those after-school groups are females talking to females, which it is what we need. We have to put value back. Yeah, we do got to put value in the vocabulary. So those groups, Laura, are women talking to little girls, which is needed. But you and I both know as educators, I can't have a young girls group. I can't say, hey, give me 16 teenage girls ages 15 to 18, and we're going to meet in my room and talk about life. And even though it is needed, they need to hear a male's voice. They need to hear, something from a man. Those who don't have a man in their life or a father at home, it can't be done in that setting. So what do we do in that point? Well, like Bird is saying, yeah, value. But you could be a guest speaker. That is true. So you think, maybe we need to start more of these programs like Miss Rucker started over at Sandy Creek, where you have, My Sister's Keeper, or, at Candace Height has a program called it's Diamonds. I just had it on the top of my tongue. Pearls of Purpose. That's another program that we have. And, majority of these programs are women talking to little girls. But I would guess that we should push those programs and groups to try to incorporate male speakers, positive men who are doing something good in the community. Even if they're not doing good in the community, they're doing something, in their home with their families and their wives. So maybe that's a challenge to you all to start inviting men to come in and speak, and just let them ask questions to men that they've always had, like, hey, what does this mean when you do that? What does it mean when you do this? You can participate every other week or once a month. Men need to show women they have value. Yeah, you can't just throw yourself in there, though. I do agree. You can participate, but how do you? Do you say, hey, I want to talk to you girls? Is the leader of the program going to be receptive to it? I can say that I've been around a lot of programs, and I've never been asked to speak to girls. I spoke to girls as their head coach. You know, I coach girls basketball, cross country, and, you know, I have opportunities to mentor through that, you know, window or avenue. But I've never been asked to, hey, coach, can you come in and answer some questions that our girls have that they really need an honest male's perspective. They need a man to answer these questions.
Hey, Daddy.
Hey, Monty.
That's my glove.
That's your glove?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because my hand will get cold.
Your hand. You want to come say hey?
Yeah.
Come on. But you can ask to speak. Create the change you want to see. So you're saying ask to speak. Say, hey, Monty.
Hey.
So, okay, I guess what we've gotten to with the few people that we have here is that Laura has the idea, I can't see you, Monty, of, you know, asking men to come in and speak to the women. I think that's a great idea. So maybe that's the challenge. As men, we can go and ask, can we speak at a woman's group?
My other glove's not on.
Yeah, where's it at?
I don't know. I was asking it for Mommy.
Okay.
But my toy.
Yeah. So the challenge, I guess, for men would be to ask, can we speak? The challenge for women would be to be receptive. If a male wants to come and speak at if they want to come speak to your girls, are you going to be receptive enough to let them come by and speak? Or are you going to say, we don't need what y'all got to say, and, we're doing fine without you. We don't want to run the girls off, this and that. So I guess that would be a good challenge, Laura, to a good opportunity to be the ram in the situation. Any more advice or things before we cut it off for this week? Also, I guess I'll have a question. Now we have Mia, we have Laura, Janie. I don't have a problem with anybody to come and speak. That's good, Coach Hodges. Remember to always have another female adult in the room and give a range of topics, touch on different topics. Yeah, definitely. I'm just saying, I'm not going to have a group with a bunch of little girls. Somebody else might. I'm just not. That's just the way it is. You can't even do that at church in this culture. So another question I had is, at what point do they go from this little happy-go-lucky girl to the girl that's just staring at me in class like they hate me? Where is the disconnect coming from? Put your shirt down. Where's the disconnect coming from happy and the world belongs to me to, could you please get out of my face? That's another issue. Everything is sexualized. Yeah, very true. Men have to expand their focus. I feel like girls are mad because they are not in touch with reality. They live through social media and hip hop, and they learn a disconnect. That's good. And I guess that's what we got to get to. My daughter is in 7th grade, and she's only 2 years away from some of the little kids that, we teach. And I'm thinking, what can I do now to avoid you being this little mad girl? And I think, social media and hip hop, they have these girls and these women on here with these fake bodies, and they've got implants, they've got surgeries here and there, and you know, you take your average, you know, age appropriate girl and they don't look like that. So I can see how that can cause some self-esteem issues. I guess the major point, you know, of finding out, Jenny, is where, you know, do we just not let them watch those things? Do we keep them off social media? You know, I had one girl last year and she doesn't have a cell phone. She's going to the 10th grade now, and I think it's a great idea because she's kept away from things. But what happens when she gets to college and she has to have a phone? Is she going to go buck wild? Like, what's going to be the result there? My dad and I had talks from time to time, but I wish we had more. So more conversations with Dad.
Your dad, Daddy.
Huh?
Your dad.
No, not my dad. So you think more conversations with Dad would help out with that issue?
What is like that? We can't get it out. Got it. But I don't know. Oh, let's get it out, Daddy.
Use the social media pictures and reality shows as learning tools. That's pretty good. But do the, yep, that's a good idea. So you use it as, is this what you should be avoiding? Is this a false reality? Those shows can bring conversations about how to behave in the real world. That's true because, you know, the way I guess try to sneak it in with my daughter saying, you know, oh, look at that. You know, I hope you would never, you know, present yourself like that. I hope you never be out there like that because that's just unattractive and that's this and that. And, you know, so maybe that's a way of helping it. Reality shows aren't reality. That's very true. Kanisha Jordan.
She's recently Jordan, Daddy.
Maybe facilitating more daddy-daughter dances, incorporating discussions with the event about how women should be treated and not expect anything less. Bert, I think that's kind of like on the money there because a lot of women and girls don't know how to be treated, and they kind of just, they'll accept something less than, they'll accept a script, they'll get with a guy who will just use them up for this and it's not a mutual thing. They'll get with a guy who'll just use them and it's not mutual. And I think you're right on that. If they, you know, kind of celebrate men that are in the lives of their daughters, it may help if they celebrate them more. And they kind of have, you know, they teach girls of how to be treated. But then again, you do have a lot of adult women who don't know how to be treated. And when you're trying to treat them how you know they should be treated, they kind of resist it. You'd be shocked how many times, stop money, you'd be shocked how many times that men get called lame for doing things like opening doors or, you know, sending little messages that how beautiful you are, this and that. And, you know, we created a culture where they'll say, oh, you're being thirsty, instead of you're pursuing that woman, you're being a thirsty male, instead of doing it the right way, because some of them just, you know, I ain't finna, you know, be a sap, and I'm not gonna do this, and I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna be the one that's, you know, sit to it. That just ain't me. And we've just learned to accept that. So it's kind of similar to everything else in the world. Wrong turns to right, and right turns to wrong.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too. You ready to eat?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so we've been on here for about 30 minutes. Does anybody have any? They can't see you. You got it up here to say bye. True, but that's why we need to reiterate: chivalry is not dead. Oh, yeah, you're right. Chivalry is not dead. All right, so before we leave, anybody got any last comments? You know, you can go over and you can check the video out. But I guess that gives you a kind of a first week's topic of why these girls are upset and mad. And I think we got a lot of great comments and, you know, suggestions on what we can do as male teachers and as female teachers and just men and women in general in these girls' lives that can make a difference, that you can go out and you can be the ram in their life and maybe change their life for the good. And although it's just one girl, you know the power, as my shirt says, the power of one is huge. One little seed can, drop and then a tree, and it drops more seeds, and it all adds up at the end of the day to a lot of different people that you can affect just by talking to that one person. This is real. This thirst is real, but men need to be honest and say our thirst has been fulfilled by Christ. They just want the woman to sip from the same well and grow together. That is true. That is true. We can be thirsty at times, and our thirst is fulfilled through Christ. He said, here you drink from this cup, and you'll thirst no more. So I think that is good if we can understand that. We're not necessarily being thirsty. We're trying to give you an opportunity to drink from this same cup, and you just trying to get you to experience, what life could be like. All right, so that's a good week, and thank you all for coming in. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. There should be a link below. Please share this video, and hopefully I'll help somebody out. And if I didn't, hey, I did my best. We'll try again next week with a different topic. And, whatever topic God gives me is what I'll speak on. So, all right, say bye-bye, money.
Bye-bye.
Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Say peace. Say peace. Yes, 2 fingers. Say peace.
Peace.
No, you got to do 2 fingers. Say peace.
Peace.
No, look. Peace.
Peace.
See? Peace.
Peace.